they must be coming up to you saying, we're scared to shave. There are a lot of misconceptions. Clearly, these three women aren't, but there are women who come up to you saying that, there's so many misconceptions connected with shaving. So what do you tell them?
So firstly, they come and ask me, is it safe to shave? So I just want to give this answer in a comparative way. Just imagine
it's safe to shave as long as you don't nick yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only safety.
It's safe. Firstly, the technology itself makes a big difference. Imagine putting on wax, where there is a chance of it being hot and spoiling your skin, where you're always subject to the hygiene conditions of where you're waxing, and then you need to wait a certain time to wax, and all that are the added disadvantages. But just the hot wax going on your skin could be a lot detrimental. And then the other thing is, imagine those chemicals that are available in terms of hair removal lotions. They're chemicals. If they're burning your hair, they're burning your skin as well, right? So those are much more harmful. So the most physical, inert, non-troubling or non-harming gadget is a razor. And then when you have razors such as these, which are newer and modern, you have the added benefits. Like you said, nick and cuts. This would never give you a nick and cut because if you see the edges, they're more rounded, the blades are smooth, and they're mounted on a spring. The nick and cut happens when you're holding the razor and you're not too sure of how much pressure you need to apply. And then along the contours of your body, when you're turning it along, is where you end up giving nick and cuts if it's not flexible. In this, the neck and the head are flexible. It's mounted on a spring. So even if you were to put an extra pressure on the handle, that's not transferred.
Contour.
On your knees, on the sides of your legs.
That's where you get the nicks if you do. Yeah.
So it just bends so beautifully and flexes itself that it's nice to shave so you don't get the nicks and cuts. And then there are springs, and then the one beautiful feature about this one is it has a bar, gel bar, which moisturizes.
Wow. I was telling the girls earlier, I think this you can have a bath with this. It's a multi-purpose thing. Right. What are the other myths connected with shaving, as far as shaving for women?
Maybe that hair grows a lot more thicker, which again is not true. That's because...
Say that again, once more. A lot of women think that the hair grows thicker, but it is...
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when you're waxing or when you're using any other methods for hair removal, you would yank it from the root. So when it is growing, it grows from the root and it kind of becomes tapered as it is coming out. So you think that it is thinner or finer. But when you razor or cut through a blade, you're cutting at the surface. So you're chopping it like the bar, like the trunk of a tree. So that feels rough till it tapers off naturally. That's all there is. So it's not actually growing thicker. It just feels blunt and, prickly for that first couple of days.
Because of where it's actually been taken out from, as opposed to waxing. What are the other myths? Are there any other myths connected with...
So myths like probably it gives you pigmentation.
Yeah, I've heard people say that, it makes my skin darker.
Correct. It doesn't. It's because if you have razors which were probably not so technologically advanced, you would probably scrape your skin 2-3 times to get away the hair much nearer to the skin. But here there are multiple blades. So one blade is designed to kind of pull your hair a little, the second one cuts off, the third one goes as near to the skin as possible. So with one stroke, you're getting a much better hair removal experience. And 2, there's also these bars which are fortifying it, or rather giving you the moisture, giving you the gel, which makes it easy and smooth for the blade to run on your skin. So there's no dehydration. Also, because of the flexible head, you're not ripping off the top dead layer of the skin too deep.
Right.
So when you're causing injury is when we call something called as PIH, which is post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So even something as simple as shaving with a blade, when you're scraping too much of the skin, might end up causing pigmentation eventually if you're using a wrong tool.
So do you actually recommend, when people come to you and ask you about hair removal, you recommend this over waxing?
Definitely. We do recommend it even in patients who come to us with those little bumps on the skin, folliculitis on the skin, ingrowth especially. Yes. That's when we end up recommending or prescribing a razor.
Right. It's with waxing that you get all those ingrowths.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the safety concerns as far as shaving is concerned? Did you ever have that thing of maybe it's not safe? I used to hear this earlier. I have to tell you this, that I have never waxed my legs in my life. I've only used a razor. And it's worked out really well for me, and it doesn't even feel blunt. That whole blunt angle that you're talking about, that hasn't ever happened with me. But have you ever encountered, or before you started shaving, did you have any concerns? Did any of you have any concerns before shaving that, it may not be good for the skin,